today's problem is to design a URL shortener. What exactly the URL shortener? Uh, if you are given a big URL like some maybe a length of 100 characters, so www dot extreme internet users .com. This is a long URL, and we need to convert this long URL to the short URL, something like http bit.ly. This is the length. I'm just taking an example here. So we need to convert this long URL to the short URL. So if we think that it sounds easy to convert, what is there? We just can take input, we store that in the database, have the long URL and corresponding short URL, and this short URL can be obtained using some hashing function. So the input would be the long URL, and we'll get some hash value, and we can store that as a short URL. That looks simple, but there is a problem. There may be a more than one long URLs which can result into the same short URL. Then we will have data corruption in the database. Two long URLs will point to the same short URL. So then if a user wants a long URL back, and when they use a short URL, it may redirect to the wrong one, or the consistency, the ACID properties will not obey in the RDBMS, or if we are using a NoSQL, then that is a data corruption. We can't save the same short URL for two different long URLs. So there is a process how we gonna do that. So there is one thing, that for every long URL, there should be a corresponding integer, and convert that integer into a short URL. Converting an integer into the short URL. So integer is nothing but a base 10 value. Converting that into a short URL. Short URL can contain A to Z, capital A to Z, and 0 to 9. Short URL can contain any of these characters. So the total number of characters is 62. That means it's just converting an integer of base 10 to a string of base 62. So this is nothing but a conversion of base 10 to the base 62. So till this part, this is fine. Now we got to know, instead of instead of submitting this to a hash function, we can have an integer value corresponding to this particular long URL in a database, and get the integer and convert into the base 62. But again, what if this particular base 62 generates the same base 62 function conversion, converts an integer to the base 62? What if this integer value is same for two different long URLs? Again, we will have to have some hard rule how the integer value should be assigned to this long URL. So for this, we have a counter. We can use a counter. The counter is nothing but for suppose uh, how many times initial the range is some 1000 to 1000 to 2000. What does the counter does? Initially, the first hit request for short URL will be assigned that a long URL will be assigned with 1,000 value, and the 1,000 will be converted into the base 62, and it will generate some short URL. And the next time when a user hits with a long URL for a short URL, the next time it will give the 1001. There is no way that we will have the same base 62 value for 1001. The same way 1000 to 2000 will be guaranteed to have a unique base 62 value. So this is the actual design, so that we will never have a collision, and guaranteed unique short URL for each and every long URL. So this is the design. When it comes to on scale, um, this will be something like this. The user will be there, and user will hit a load balancer, and the load balancer will distributes the load to the nodes. Okay, and these nodes should have ranges. For suppose the user gave one long URL to this and the other long URL to this, the other long URL to this. So these should have a different ranges, where the counter will take care of increasing the numbers within those ranges, so that the unique short URL will be guaranteed at the end when we convert that integer into the base 62. So who will take care of this? We will have another service called Zookeeper. The Zookeeper is something like, we can give an analogy like this. We have a teacher in the class, and we have students here, and students will control all the students. This teacher will control all the students, and teacher will take care of the communication between the students and also the students information. For suppose if a new student joins, the teacher will assign some roll number to this student, and again it will have some configuration of this particular student, like name and etc, and age and the class and the standard, everything. The same like Zookeeper is a service which have all information of this, all the servers, let's say A1, A2, A3, all these servers. And also, as and when these servers are added into the system, these will register into the Zookeeper, and Zookeeper will assign a range to these servers. For suppose the range of this is 1 lakh to 2 lakhs, and to this 2 lakhs to 3 lakhs, for this 3 lakhs to 4 lakhs. So whenever a user hits and the counter takes care of this increasing the range here, it starts from the 1 lakh and it ends at 2 lakhs, so that the integer will be unique, so that the base 62 will be unique. So this is guaranteed. We don't have to check whether this URL already exists or not in the database, and recreating the reissuing the random number or something like that. We just can straightly save the long URL and corresponding the counter value here, and we will be giving a short URL. And if we want, we can say the short URL, or otherwise a short URL will be given to the user. And if we want to retrieve the long URL corresponding to the short URL, we need to get corresponding integer, and the corresponding long URL will be given to the user. So this is how we design the system. And one more thing here, what if a particular server goes down, then this particular range will be marked as used. And on a scale, for suppose we have some 30 trillion combinations can be there, or something like that, the 1 lakh is ignored, and that, so we just can mark as used there, uh, and we just can ignore this range. When the A3 comes up, again the Zookeeper assign a new range for this 4 lakh to 5 lakh, or if any other new server added as A4, the Zookeeper will assign a new range 5 lakh to 6 lakhs, like that. So that Zookeeper will takes care of assigning the unique ranges to each and every app server, so that it will always gives us, the counter will always gives us the unique base 10 value, and in turn we get the unique base 62 value. Base 62 is nothing but the short URL. This is the system that we're gonna design for the short URL in brief. And what are all the, and one more thing, we can have a cache over here to in order to uh, return the long URL or short URL for that particular um, hit for some time. This is like a Redis cache or something, distributed cache. This is the long persisted database. This can be a SQL database or a NoSQL. Majorly we use a NoSQL because of the expensive nature of the SQL. We go for a NoSQL there because it's just a read operations and write. We don't do any update operations here. Mm, so this is it. So uh, finally, what is the main algorithm? The main algorithm is this integer value will be getting from the zookeeper, and the range will be, we will be getting from the counter. So we will be given the integer value. The only thing that we need to do is converting it to the base 62 value and returning that string, that actually the short URL. And one more function is getting the short URL and convert into the integer so that the user can get the corresponding long URL. So these are the two functions that we need to define. When it comes to the system, those two will be the APIs that we need to write. So what is the logic and algorithm behind that, and how we code? uh, I'll just code it and I'll explain. So as discussed, we will have two functions. One is converting the integer to the short URL, and another is converting short URL back to the integer. And base 62, what are all the characters that we're gonna use? Lowercase a to z, uppercase a to z, and 0 to 9. The total number of characters is 62. So how we are going to generate a short URL? We'll have a function. You're going to return a string, so the return value will be string. So into short URL, will be given an integer, so I'm calling it as n. What are all the characters? This will be the character array, so I'll name as base. This is lowercase. The same way we will have an uppercase and 0 to 9. Just as I'm short of space, I'm writing the dots there. Let's take a string builder because we keep appending the characters. So the integer value is just nothing but how we convert the string to the integer, or how we convert a binary to the base 10 or base 10 to binary. The same, we are just converting base 10 to base 62. Mm. While n greater than 0, short URL dot append base of n modulo 62. So whatever is the remainder, we're adding that character, and we'll reduce that particular n by reduce that particular n by 62. This is simple. So we'll get a short URL, that is a string builder. Now we are doing reminder, so we are getting from right to left. We need to reverse it now so that the actual conversion we will get. So I mean, if you take a 123 and you are dividing it 62, and this reminder we get, for suppose you're getting 3 reminder, okay, if you're getting 3 reminder, that character is coming first. If for suppose C is the corresponding character, and then reminder to A is the corresponding, this is some D is the corresponding, we are getting in the reverse. In order to get the actual base 62 conversion, we need to reverse the string. This would be the actual base conversion that we need to do. As this is a string builder, we need to convert into the character array and reverse it and return that string. So right, so string output equal to short url dot to string, and now just reverse it, array dot reverse function we have. Now we just need to return this. That's it. It will give us the short URL. Now what is the other function? We need to get the integer back using the short URL. Unless we get the integer back, we cannot return the actual long URL to back to the user. So we should have the function there. So what is that function? It's gonna give us the integer back and short URL to int. The input would be the short URL, the n. Initially the n we just send that to 0. Now how we are gonna convert? Just a simple math. We traverse through the each and every character of that short URL. We convert that particular character into a base 62, base 10. How we do the base 10? We divided there by 62. Here we need to multiply with the 62, and we the last character, the remainder we need to add again. That reminder would be the value of that particular character, subtract it from uh, uh, the character. If it is between lowercase a and z, we subtract a. If it is between a lowercase uppercase a and z, we subtract from a. And then if it is between 0 to 9, we subtract 9. And one more thing, on top of this we need to add few uh, uh, some amount of numbers. Why we will see this now. Okay, so what is the first one? If that particular character is between lowercase a and z, and short URL of I is less than or equal to z, lowercase z, then the id value would be, so what did we do here? We divided. Now we need to multiply, and then we took out the remainder. We need to add that, right? So add it. uh, n equal to n into 62 plus, oh god, url of I minus a. Okay, if it is between the capital A and the capital Z, capital Z, then the n would be again the same and the same. We subtract, but we need to add 26. Why we need to add 26? Because when we convert here, we started with lowercase a to lowercase z, and then a to z, and then 0 to 9. So every time we do, we need to consider it as a starting one. But how many characters are left before that? 26. And the same if we do compare the character 0 to 9, how many characters left? 26 plus 26, 52. So, and this is the first set, and this is the second set, and this is the third set. For the first set, this is a starting, so we are not missing any set there. So there is no comparison with any other one, so that we don't add anything. When it comes here, we are eliminating a 26 characters here, we need to add that. And when it comes to here, we need to add 52. The same, see, if it is between 0 and 9, the same, we we add 52 here. That's it. When n is ready, we return n. We get the integer back now. So this is what the URL shortener design. That's it. Thanks.